welcome to Tracy Momi Reads. I am back again with another video, and I am so excited about today's book review. Oh my goodness. I was fortunate enough to get an ARC, A-R-C, that stands for Advanced Reader Copy, of a book that will not be released until March 5th. And it is in a series called the Skyland series by Kennedy Ryan. And y'all know I've talked ad nauseum about how I'm not a big fan of series. Well, you know, I kind of readjusted my view on that over the summer because while I still am not a fan of series that continue stories of the same character, you know, like the main characters. Like, let's say if a book, you know, is about a couple or an event or something, and it leaves you on a cliffhanger, so you got to read book 2 to find out what happened. Not a fan. Hard pass. I need some closure for those characters. However, series that feature different, maybe side characters that was, you know, or in the first book, I'm all about that, especially if the characters were, you know, funny or intriguing, or I like those side characters. I definitely want, you know, to know more about them and their own story. And that's what has happened with the Skyland series. So in the first book in that series is Before I Let Go, okay? Devoured this, absolutely loved Yasmin and Josiah's story. And so when I found out it was going to be a series, because, you know, their story gets wrapped up in this book, I was like, well, what is she going to do here? So what she's doing is she's taking the 3 female characters. Like, this was Yasmin's story. And then in the second book, it was going to be Soledad's story. And then she has another book coming out in 2025 that's going to be Hendrix's story. So those were the 3 besties in Before I Let Go. Well, this Could Be Us, which is coming out March 5th, 2024. And this book is Soledad's story. I don't even know where to start. I thought I loved Before I Let Go. I love This Could Be Us just as much, if not more. It was so good, y'all. It was so good. And I am going to try my hardest not to give away any, like, spoilers or main, you know, plot points, because I really want people to go out and not only support Kennedy Ryan, but also read this book because it is so good. I can't wait till it comes out so that I can get an actual hard copy of it, because, like I said, I got this one through NetGalley, and it's, you know, an ebook. It's digital. So anyway, well, let's get started. So in the prologue of the book, we are introduced to the main male character, and his name is Judah, J-U-D-A, okay? And we are learning in that prologue, like, he is in the process, I think they're at mediation or something, where he's getting a divorce, okay? So that's setting him up to become an available guy, right? And one of the things that I thought was interesting, that I feel gave the book even more realness or authenticity, and this is just like, it happens to be like a fact in the book. It doesn't give away any of the story or the plot points. I mean, you may think you know what's going to be happening with what I'm about to tell you, but you're going to be wrong, because I was thinking something else. Anyway, Judah has twin sons, right? And they are on the spectrum. They both have autism, but they have different levels. Like, they don't have the same type. They don't present the same way, but they do have, you know, a pretty strong case of autism. And it requires, you know, both their parents to be, you know, all hands on deck. And they've, like, even when in the prologue, they talk about how they both have switched from, like, you know, being stay-at-home parents because, you know, there were issues with the kids at school and all of that stuff. So this man is very dedicated to his sons. And he and his ex-wife, you know, they kind of started off as, you know, maybe like college sweethearts or friends or whatever, that it just transitioned into a little bit more, and they got married. But it was never just like all encompassing for either of them, you know, according to what's said in the prologue. So they are committed to working together and co-parenting the best that they can, and, you know, are hashing out a plan. So that's how we're introduced to Judah. Then the next chapter, we go into find out what's been going on with Soledad. Now, if you read Before I Let Go, you'll probably remember, like, her friends Yasmin and Hendrix, they did not really care for her husband, okay? They didn't really think he was involved enough with their 3 daughters. They didn't really think he treated her like she needed to be treated. And we get a glimpse of that in the first chapter. So I feel like the writing is on the wall with what's going to happen with their marriage, because, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, this isn't a spoiler. We know that this is a love story, or, you know, romance, kind of in the romance category. I really feel like it's more contemporary fiction with a definite romance undertone. I mean, because that's at the end of the day about 2 people getting together. So having said that, Soledad has to get out of her marriage, right? But I won't tell you how that all fell apart, because it was drama central. It was a lot. It was a lot. So anyway, the thing that I found extremely interesting, which it's revealed in the the first chapter is like revealed, there's a connection between Soledad's husband, who, let me see, I don't even know if I remember that shiesty guy's name. Edward. His name was Edward. So there's a connection between Edward and Judah. Like, they know each other. Okay. So then you find out how they know each other, and it's just an avalanche of activity and events that ultimately do bring about the end of Soledad's marriage. Okay. Opening the door potentially for someone new, maybe like Judah. So anyway, the thing that, and also, let me step back. Like I said, Soledad has 3 kids. She has 3 daughters. And I think one of them, they're like, she has 2 middle schoolers and 1 in high school. And then, you know, Judah has the 2 sons. But the prologue, before we, like, when we get to the first chapter where Soledad, you know, and her husband are having problems, it has been 3 years since Judah's divorce. So he's been divorced 3 years by the time he meets Soledad, right? And he, remember, he has the 2 sons. And so they're like both 15 at the time that he, you know, will meet Soledad. And then she has the 3 daughters. So already, you know, that there are going to be some challenges, because, you know, when you are a single parent and you have kids, and especially in Judah's case, you know, the boys having autism, it's like you're really committed to those kids, and it leaves hardly any time for you to really have a personal life, especially a romantic personal life. And I think that again was one of the things that gave this some authenticity and some interest, as you saw how these 2 people navigated that, right? And I don't know if Kennedy Ryan has children, if she has children that, you know, have autism, or if she has relatives, but, and I don't know anybody that personally that has autism, just, you know, things that you've gleaned from television or stories that you've heard, and people that have shared their experiences, you know, with children that have autism. I feel like a lot of what she wrote in the book, it seemed very real. It seemed real legit. Like, I could see those, like, if those are actual symptoms and things that happen with children with autism, then God bless Judah and his ex-wife, because they had a lot to contend with. Even when the boys got older, they had kind of grown out of some of the stuff, but a lot of it was still very much there, you know. And as a result, he really had put his life on hold. He was working, but primarily his kids, you know, were, like I said before, were his priority. And then he meets Soledad, and he's like, how can I perhaps have both? So again, that's kind of the big part of, like, the book is kind of how the 2 of them are navigating their lives as single parents who want more, but don't really know how to make that attainable. And especially in Soledad's case, because after her divorce, she spends the majority of the time, I mean, she feels like she lost herself. She'd been with that guy since college, and that's all she'd done. She was a stay-at-home mom, and, you know, she just wanted to go through this whole thing of finding herself and kind of recapturing who she was. And due to some financial reasons, you know, she had to work, like go back to work, and she was just kind of establishing a new career path, if you will. So she just really was busy, you know, her life was just really busy and very complicated. And so as a result, I will tell you that the book is a very, very slow burn. It's a very, very slow burn. Halfway through the book, and like I said, knowing that at its heart there's this romantic element there, you know, you have certain expectations when you're reading a romance book. This book was halfway over, like more than halfway, and the two characters hadn't even shared a first kiss yet. So if that gives you any kind of indication what you're in for when you're reading this, you're just like, when are they gonna get together? It took a while, and I feel like that was realistic, because even in, you know, and I've said this before too, I read for escapism. So a lot of times stuff doesn't have to always be 100% plausible, because, you know, it's not necessarily real life. But I feel like she really added a lot of real life elements. You know, so many people after the end of one relationship, you know, whether it's a breakup, a divorce, a death, or whatever, in a lot of these books, people they just rebound so quickly. You know, and even if you really, you know, had animosity towards your former partner, there's still this like grieving period for a relationship that didn't really work out the way you thought it would. And I think people need that time to reflect on, how do I not make this same damn mistake again? You know, and that Soledad did that. You know, she took some time for herself. So they had probably known each other, I want to say, over a year. It was well over a year for sure, before they kind of started tiptoeing around the fact, you know, that, hey, there's some attraction here. What are we going to do about it? Right. But I will tell you, when they decide what they're going to do about it, it's worth the wait. It is so worth the wait. But I also think that speaks to how, you know, good of an author, you know, Kennedy Ryan is, because even though it took more than half the book for these two characters to even have a first kiss, you're still engaged, and you're still interested, and you're still rooting for them, and you still want the best for them, you know. And that's like the problem with, I think, some books that fall into the, you know, contemporary fiction, women's fiction, or romance genre, is that you really just don't care about the characters. Like, there's nothing redeeming about them, nothing really interesting. You know, everything just is so contrived, you know, and so it follows such a formula that, you know, well, yeah, of course they were going to get together. What else could have happened? You know, like you don't even really have any expectations that there could be a detour. I was just pleasantly surprised by the choices that she made in putting this story together. There were some times that I got waiting to exhale moments, you know, because, you know, y'all know I've talked about this before. I really feel like Terry McMillan's book, Waiting to Exhale, it's like the blueprint for sister friend type books, that whole trope, you know. And with her having her friends, Yasmin and Hendrix, you know, and she also had two sisters as well, like biological sisters. But with her BFFs, you know, there were some moments that I was definitely getting the Waiting to Exhale type vibe, when they kind of, you know, rallied around her to make sure she was okay, and to make sure her girls were okay. And, you know, and that was like, you know, that was really well done, as, you know, also. And there was this one thing I like wrote in my notes. I guess like after she had kind of gotten herself together, you know, in the aftermath of everything that happened, it's like her friends would catch her like just kind of smiling to herself or something like that. And most of the time it was because she was thinking about Judah, right? And they came to coin the term resting joy face. You know how like you have that term resting bitch face where somebody's just kind of like always looking crazy or always frowning and they don't even know it. It just becomes their expression. Well, she had the opposite of that. So they were calling it resting joy face. And I thought that was pretty cute. So yeah, I just really loved everything about this story. It was just the right amount of angst, just the right amount of drama. You know, the friendship and family parts, you know, brought a smile and laugh, you know, made me laugh. And then the love and passion between her and Judah, you know, was just phenomenal. And the idea that this is what self-love looks like and second chances looks like, I think she did an excellent job at tying all of those elements together. So having said that, if all of that is your jam and you know, are into stories like that and you want to read stories like that, you should go and pre-order This Is Us by Kennedy Ryan. It's out March 5th, 2024. Wonderful, wonderful story. And, you know, like I said, when it gets to the steamy scenes, when they finally get there, it's worth it. I mean, I tried to think of a reason why I would not give this book 5 stars, because on my notes, I have 4.5 stars. And I'm going through my notes again and I cannot. I mean, at first I think it was because it was just that slow burn was just killing me, right? But I feel like she made up for it and it was what needed to happen. So I am going to update my original rating from a 4.5 to a 5 star. And y'all know what? This is the first 5-star book I have read all year. So that deserves some confetti or something. So anyway, if you were lucky enough to get the ARC from NetGalley, because I think I don't know if that's the only place she had them. She may have been giving out physical copies as well. Let me know in the comments what you thought about it. And I'm just so super excited now. It's like, I can't wait because I read this so early. But, you know, to get Hendrix's story in 2025, because she by far is the, like, most colorful of the bunch, right? She's the wildest, the loudest, you know, the fanciest. So I know her story isn't going to disappoint either because she's so like anti like love and relationships. Like she just, nobody's going to be able to satisfy her. So I know Kennedy Ryan has something very good in store for us in that regard. But anyway, again, This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure you like this video. And if you have not already subscribed to my channel, you should do so. You should go and do it right now. And make sure you share this video with anyone you think might enjoy my content. You guys enjoy the rest of your day and I'll see you next time. Bye.